So my name is Zachary Torres. I'm an architectural studies major. My project is entitled The American Dormitory, Its History and Application at Boston University, and it explores the historical evolution of the college dormitory in the United States. Beginning with the first dormitory constructed at Harvard in the early colonial era, I traced the social and architectural development of the dormitory up to the present day. I examined typologies such as the stairway, entrance, and double corridor, student villages, skyscraper dorms, fraternities, as well as more contemporary structures. I also analyze the social changes that have accompanied such developments, such as the inclusion of women in dorms, the influence of federal aid on things such as built-in furnishings, and I also turn to the Boston 2030s housing plan, which analyzes the city's goals to increase undergraduate housing on campus by 16,000 beds by the year 2030. Finally, in order to respond to historical and contemporary typologies and to meet the needs of both the city and the university, I propose a new dormitory design for Boston University that draws upon the post-war Japanese metabolist movement and the writings of Harold C. Riker, who was director of housing at the University of Florida in the 60s. And Riker advocated for dormitories as social learning units. Utilizing modular architecture, I proposed the development of the Cummington Mall and Warren Towers complex by the construction of pod towers. I take into consideration BU's master plan, its goals of pedestrianizing Cummington Mall, and the continued development of Central Campus. The goals of this design are to create dynamic spaces for students where academic and social learning are both promoted via the use of shared and flexible spaces.
Okay, hi, my name is Mati Grohl, and so I'm a biomedical engineer, and so what me and my team decided to do for our senior project, which also goes hand in hand with my capstone, is create a treadmill that makes it easier for you to walk in a more natural state. So one of the main limitations with treadmills right now, both recreationally or also therapeutically or in research labs, is that they can only accelerate at either no speed, so you're just walking at a constant speed, or they accelerate linearly. And so if you can imagine, when you're walking above ground, it's called OGW, overground walking, you're not always accelerating linearly, and you're not always walking at a constant speed. So there's a lot of issues with that. In research, for example, if you have a lot of elderly patients or people with bad gait, it's very difficult for them to walk at a proper speed. At a constant speed. So this treadmill that we've created uses an algorithm based on PID control, and if you guys want, I will explain more about that at my poster, so you can come and ask me about all that fun stuff, all that fun engineering stuff. So what this does is it basically allows you to be in control of your speed manually. So if you want to speed up, you just speed up and it will speed up for you. So you can kind of move in exactly the ways that you want to in a more natural way. And so what we came up with was a device. It does work. It doesn't work perfectly, admittedly, but we had about 12 subjects do pilot testing on it, and they gave us their feedback, and we have a device that is a proof of concept for this. It's not perfect for research quite yet, but it is one step further into getting that overground walking. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm David. I'm an electrical engineering major, physics minor, nanotechnology concentration. I figured why not just combine that all into one project? So I did friction patterning for strain engineering and graphene. First of all, what the heck is graphene? You probably have heard it in the news. It's a really cool material. It has high electrical conductivity, thermal conductivity. It's super strong. It's 200 times stronger than steel. The analogy I like to give people is that if you were to take a cat's whiskers and make it out of graphene, it would be able to support the weight of the cat. So it's a really cool material. It's going to be used in a lot of things in the future. And so a cool thing to do is to strain it. So why do we care about straining graphene? One of the cool things that comes from straining graphene are these things called pseudomagnetic fields. So they sound like they're fake, but they're actually very real. And so I will explain more about that and the friction patterning specifically if you come find me by my poster. So thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I'm Tyler. I'm a chemistry student here at BU. As you can see from my title, it is a mess because it's pretty much a conglomeration of two of my projects. I got the luxury of having a pretty successful first project, and I wanted to see if I could sort of transition this initial finding into something more tangible to the real world. So I started off with the synthesis of this 1245 tetrazine. It's very esoteric in my organic synthesis type realm. And since I got pretty good results early on, I wanted to see if I can sort of expand this into some sort of more broad, understandable basis. And basically, I tried to integrate this tetrazine molecule into a polymer that we all know, nylon, like with your stockings. I wanted to see if I can sort of modify this nylon to chelate out metals to make it a filtration device similar to how you would expect to solve Flint, Michigan. So if you want to hear a little more about it, come see my poster.
So my name's Diels-Alder. I'm a finance and information systems major here at the Questrom School of Business. And for my research, I'm also part of the Finance and Investment Club. So a little background on the Finance and Investment Club. It's a club on campus. It is meant, one, to give people an educational tool to learn how to do financial valuation, help with internships and job stuff. Also, it has an investment fund of $500,000 that was given to it by the BU Endowment, and that purpose is to outperform the market. So think like the S&P 500. You do that by basically finding undervalued stocks and purchasing them and then holding them until they reach their target value. And that way you could kind of make money on the market. I know to a lot of you that have saved up for your retirement or have your own personal brokerage funds, that might sound very near and dear to you, to some guy or a woman knocking on your door and saying, give me all your money and I'll be able to earn you 20% a year and you'll be living the good life. And all I want in return is just a small investment fee. But in finance academia, there's a big friction between that. Because in academics, finance academics say that there's no such thing as beating the market. There's something called the efficient market hypothesis. And that basically means that all stocks are priced at where they should be priced. So there's no such thing as an undervalued stock. So there's no such thing as somebody being able to get you a better return than the market can get you. Finance practitioners, like the people on Wall Street, will tell you, no, if you look at Warren Buffett or you look at all of these hedge funds, we've beaten the market for several years in a row, so we're an exception to the rule. So my research wanted to look at whether the Finance and Investment Club was an exception to the rule, and I don't want to give that away just yet, but if you want to come to my board, I'll let you know.
Hi everyone, my name is Shruti Raja and my major is biomedical engineering. So in my Keystone project, which also served as my senior design project, my teammates and I improved calcium phosphate particles used in growth factor delivery. So in the United States, over 400,000 people undergo spinal fusion annually to treat back pain. And so Bioventus, which is a bioorthologics company, has developed a way to naturally stimulate bone growth post-surgery using bone morphogenetic protein delivered through a calcium phosphate carrier granule. So the objective of our project was to reduce the residence time of these granules in order to improve the bone growth, the action of the bone growth protein. And so we were able to achieve this objective by synthesizing carbonated calcium phosphate particles. This is a bio-inspired approach as native bone mineral contains carbonate ions. So if you'd like to hear more about the process and the results, please come check out my poster.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming today and for sticking around until the end. My name is Elena Flynn and I'm a mechanical engineering major. So for my Keystone project, I did research in the fluid lab, specifically studying the dynamics of bursting bubbles. So if you had soda with your lunch today, you probably experienced bubbles popping and fizziness in the cup. So bubbles are common in our everyday lives, but there's still many unknowns about the dynamics of bubbles and how they pop. So one interesting process that happens when a bubble pops is there's a rising jet that follows the burst, and this jet can break off into individual droplets. And these droplets can carry particulates from the water source. So one important application of this is in oceanography, where bubbles which burst in the ocean can release these droplets that carry salts with them into the atmosphere and can affect climate. And another cool application is in the transport of bacteria or pathogens. So if we understand more about the number of these droplets and the size of them, how big they can be, and how small they can be, we'll better understand, or can reduce the uncertainty in climate models, as well as better understand the transport of disease. So these bubbles and drops are extremely small and fast moving, and the whole event occurs in a very short time, like on the order of less than a millisecond. So in order to conduct experiments, we use high-speed photography to view the whole event. And this produces some really cool images, but also is the method of collecting data. So if you're interested in seeing this process or hearing about our findings, feel free to stop by my poster. Thank you.
Congratulations.